Alright, hello everybody and welcome to my replays. I'd like to just take a little moment and kind of walk you guys through the interface uh, that is War Thunder. Some people were kind of confused as to how everything worked, and I just kind of wanted to walk people through things first before I kind of went through and did a full-fledged video. I feel like I couldn't do justice if you couldn't even get yourself into a proper battle. So let's take a look. Alright, so if you click here, this is a research button that brings up your tech tree. And so you see how like everything's kind of divided in like different shade boxes here? Like this whole thing right here is one big box. And what does that actually mean for you? And what that means is you're a rank 1 vehicle. This is purely for research purposes. The ranks don't have an effect on your tank. But in the sense that it doesn't have effect on your tank, it does, however, matter how you research. And I'm going to go through that right now. Okay, so you have the BT5 and the T-26 to start with if you are starting with the Russians. To unlock the T-34s and the KV-1s and all this stuff, all the glorious tanks I'm sure everybody's going to want to get to at some point, you're going to have to unlock, what is it? I think it's like 6 tanks, 7 tanks, I can't remember. But you're going to have to play these two and unlock this tank, this tank, this tank, this tank, and maybe even this tank. I think you'll have to unlock all the tanks that you can unlock, and then that'll open the second tier for your tanks. And you do have to buy these tanks. You can't just research them. But then once you do, you get access to these tanks right here. Anything over here on this side is premium. You will either be given it by Gaijin for some reason, or you're going to have to pay for it. These tanks are just basically, most of these tanks, like this one right here, it's literally the same thing as a T-26, but up armored actually. Okay, so this one's the same thing, sorry. This one is just an up armored version. So, yay. I mean, not really a whole lot of purpose to it. Then you get to this one, it's a little more interesting. 60 millimeters of side armor with the T-34's legendary front armor. And it comes in at a 3.7 battle rating, which is equal, on par at least, to the 1942. The numbers, I actually didn't explain that. The battle rating, see here, you're looking at 1.0 on the battle rating for this tank. And I'll show how you find that here on this screen. You click these arrows to pull in and out these little statistics. And as you see, this is a rank 2 vehicle, rank right there. And then battle rating 2.7 right there. And then these numbers right here will kind of tell you how much reward you're going to make. And this reward is for the Lions, and that's kind of the in-game currency. And then research points, which is up here. These are convertible research points up here. So I have 1.7 million somewhere in there, you know, of convertible. That you have to use money to use that. So that's just going to build up. You're going to have a shit ton of it. But it's going to make you cry because you never have the money to spend on it unless you're some rich bitch. But whenever you win a battle, you see to research. Also, I forgot to click this. See, this is the tank that's in research, as it says here. When I win a battle, some of my research points goes to this tank. Say I make 7,000 experience in a game. And I have 100% on my research bonus. So it'll make exactly what I put in. So I would get 7,000 that goes to this ISU 152. And then, you know, anything higher than 100% will go in the positive. You will have, see, this one's 90%, so if I was to make 7,000, I would make 90% of 7,000, and that would go to the ISU. And then you have some tanks that are more proficient with researching. Since the ISUs, the tank before the ISU is the ISU 122. It says efficient progress from ISU 122. You get 130. That's 130 experience bonus that you're getting towards the ISU just simply for playing the tank before it. So it's kind of like trying to keep you playing it. So if I was to want to research the IS-2, I would be most effective playing in the IS-1, seeing as it is kind of the baby to the IS-2. It's the tank before it in the tech tree. So they want you to earn your tanks that way. And it's just kind of a fast way of speed grinding if you want to get through tanks really quickly. The Russian tanks are, in my opinion, fun tanks. They're crude, they're rude, and they're loud, and they're fast. Unless you go to the KVs in the IS. They're not fast. But you get the BT-5 as a reserve tank to start out with. And look at that. It's 11.6 tons, but has an engine power of 365. That's some serious horsepower to weight ratio right there. That's like 30 horsepower to ton ratio. I don't really know, actually, what the exact number would be, but I mean, if you're a mathematician, you can figure it out, or just grab a fucking calculator. Don't care. And it shows there that the max speed is 33 miles an hour, or if you want to go by kph, that's up to you. I don't go by it, so I'm not going to attempt to show you. I don't care. Maximum inclination, it seems to top out at 41, which it's at the max 41, so you can drive up 41 degrees. At 42, you'll start to slide backwards. You just can't climb in any higher of a degree. You can theoretically climb up slightly higher degrees if you have momentum backing you, but once that momentum dissipates, then, you know, you're kind of just fucked. So, life sucks, I mean. And, oh well. So you got 33 miles an hour, you've got 41 degrees, you got turret rotation of 16 degrees a second, which is pretty decent. For a light tank, that's actually pretty slow, honestly. But the only tank line that you're going to get fast turret rotation is going to be the Americans. They're just really quick at turning the turrets on average. To a new War Thunder or tank player, then vertical guidance might kind of confuse you, but it's pretty simple. The -8 stands for how many degrees that gun can aim downwards from leveled position. So it can aim 8 degrees downwards, and so the bigger the number, the better. The more versatile your tank is. The lower the number, the more bumps and little undulations in the ground are going to really affect your ability to aim your gun on the target. And the 25 degrees is how high you can aim your gun up. And that really only takes place, or is only really relevant in the case of having to shoot planes in this game, or if you're at an extreme downslope and you got to aim your gun up. If you're stopping at an extreme downslope, you're doing nothing but hurting yourself anyways, because the top armor on all tanks is very weak, because tank designers don't suspect that often you're going to take tank shells from the top of your tank, so they didn't exactly well armor the bitches up there. So if you're on an extreme downward slope exposing the top of your tank, you're already doing it wrong. So gun elevation really is only relevant for shooting down aircrafts or being caught in a really dumbass position that you shouldn't have been in the first place, which at that point you kind of deserved that. Then working our way down to the hull armor, you've got 40 meters in the front, 15 in the side, 13 in the rear. That's what those mean. 40, it stands for the front hull armor. And that's really telling you kind of what the max, theoretically, You may have some armor plates on the front that are thicker than that, but if it doesn't consist of most of the hull, then it doesn't really consider it the actual hull thickness. And then 15 for the side and 13 for the rear, as I've already said. Then you got the turret armor, which is 20 millimeters thick on the front, 15 side, and 15 rear. And then it tells you kind of the stock penetration for the gun, which starts at 52 for, I think, 100 meters, 1,000 meters, 2,000 meters, or something like that. It actually tells you the distance. Yeah, 52 at 100, 43 at 500, and 35 at 1,000. So actually, that's pretty decent. And then you got the reload rate at 3.8 seconds. That's not bad. I mean, for a reserve tank that had a 45 millimeter cannon, that's actually pretty good. Russians early on are all about the cannon. They're all about the cannon work. Now I guess I'll show you exactly how crews work. Now, you click that little drop down arrow and it brings up those list of options, and crew being one of them. Alright, and as you see, here's the XP points. You will earn these in battle every time you fight, and then the crew level is kind of like the culmination of the points. It's kind of like saying the efficiency of the tank itself. And as you see, I have 50% or more on my gunner. Keen vision, it stands for the maximum distance in which you can detect an enemy from the driver's perspective. Field repair is how fast you repair damaged modules and stuff like that. And you want that to be high. I've got it at half, but it would definitely benefit. And that's kind of a shared. Keen vision and field repair and vitality are shared amongst all the crew members. So those are ones that you're going to have them high on all the crew members for it to really matter. Vitality kind of is the health of the crew member. The higher that is, the higher the chance that your driver or something will not get completely knocked out when he takes a hit. Maybe he'll just get wounded, or if it was going to just barely wound him before, it really won't do much to him. It's basically just improving the HP of the crew members and giving them longer sustainability on the battlefield, mostly. And then tank driving is, as you expect, the skill of the driver. And what that does is, well, I mean, it's telling you right there. Tank driving skill affected by driver's braking reaction rate, as well as choosing necessary gears and its changing speed. Basically, just the efficiency of gear shifting and all that. And then the only new ones here are targeting and rangefinder. Targeting and rangefinder basically are standing for the accuracy. Rangefinder means long distance, targeting just means general accuracy. Tank commander, he has leadership, which means he affects the skills of all the other crew members. His specialty is the fact that he basically gives extra skill points to everybody. And when he goes down, everything goes down by a little bit. And then you've got weapon reloading on the tank loader. That's always important. You definitely want to be able to shoot faster. Radio operator / gunner. Radio communication is key. If somebody's seeing an opponent, but you guys can't communicate, then there was no point for him seeing them at all in the first place. You need to be able to communicate with the other people. As Russia found out during World War II, sticking your head outside the fucking tank and doing, flag commands and stuff like that is just not an efficient way to do battle. The Russians did not have radios for an extended period of time. I think they didn't get it until like 1942. It's an extremely long amount of time to not have radios. Either way, moving on. This right here is, if you saw those little green, these are qualification bonuses. If you go to qualification, I'm on expert with the T60. And then I can pay 20 golden eagles, which is real cash, and upgrade him to ace. And those 30s will go to 50s and see if I have field repair at 50, it'll go to 150. And notice how they're only on the 50s, they're never on the hundreds, because the hundreds are the ones that are kind of given to you, in a sense. The 50s are the ones you basically have to pay for to get that high. But a lot of the times the experts, getting them to expert will only cost lions. I think there's some tanks that getting them just to even expert might actually cost you golden eagles, I don't know. But it's always the cost of the tank. If it costs you $780,000 to buy the tank, it'll cost you $780,000 to get the crew to expert. Oh well, if you've got that kind of money to shell out, go for it. I generally don't. Rank 5 and 4s are just extremely hard to have good crews for because they're just so damn expensive. But I'm going to go ahead and switch a crew member out and show you the difference it can make. 7.2 seconds rate of fire. First we'll have to send this guy to holiday. You just take that and scroll it all the way up. Send to holiday. Now let's take him and put him here on this crew. I'll have to spend a little bit of money, but it's worth it to show you guys. Not that much, 3,000. Oh well. Alright. Sometimes the stats don't update, so I'm guessing it was actually faster rate of fire than 7.2, but it just didn't reload the stat screen. Let's try going to another nation, maybe come back. Alright, well 7.2, and then let's try and send him back. Maybe that was his 6.2. Nope, different tank. Jesus Christ. Alright. 7.2. Alright, let's go to a different nation. I know that this crew is good. One of my best crews. Yeah. Okay, well, this stupid thing doesn't refresh very well. I'm going to go ahead and show you another cool feature in War Thunder that is not in most any other game that I know of. And that's this option right here. And it's an in-game ability to see the effectiveness of your armor. And this right here, this thickness on this front armor is only 45 millimeters thick. But as you can see, at a level playing field, you take a shot at it and it's effectively 66 to 84 depending on how high. And then it has this 100 millimeter strip. And alright, so it can be as high as 60 to 83. But if you turn it like this, since the sides and the front are the same, then you start going to much higher numbers. And the further away you get, the better the sloping is. Alright, and then sometimes you have overlaying armor, like right here. If you were to shoot right here, you would be shooting through 2 layers of 45 millimeters. And so you're effectively shooting 90 millimeters, and at this level, 90 millimeters is a big deal. And then you want to look for the little areas like this. See, this right here is a flat spot. It acts as no more than 45 millimeters of armor on flat spots or so. And then you come over here and it jumps to 75. I mean, that's just a huge jump. So try to watch out for flat pieces of armor like this right here and this right here. And this right here is a major weak spot on the T-34 series tanks. And if you click this again, it shows you what's inside the tank and what can be damaged from certain shots. And here's why it's deadly. You shoot here and you take out the driver. You take out the gunner. You take out fuel tanks possibly. What you also take out this rack of ammo right here. And anytime ammo is in between where that shell is going, chances are if you light that ammo on fire, it's just going to blow up. And that ammo blows up, that ammo blows up. And if those ammos blow up, then you're just creating a little mini bomb inside this tank. But here's a list of things that can be shot. See, if you take a shot right here, boom, takes out your cannon breech. Then you take longer to reload. And while it's broken, you can't shoot the gun. This right here, which gets knocked out quite often, is a gun barrel. People can shoot it from the side like this, be like, boom. And then there goes your gun. Shoot it from the front like this, boom. They can do damage. It's not guaranteed that they'll knock it out in one shot, but you know they can do damage. And this is interesting stuff right here. If you look and you shoot right here and you shoot slightly to the right of the gun, you hit the gunner. You shoot slightly to the left and you hit the loader. Alright, so what does that actually mean for you? Well, it takes 10 seconds for the game standard of switching seats. So, say you shoot the loader. That gun is not getting loaded again. If it's got a shell in there, it's got one more shot, and then until that loader gets back up, or say the machine gunner takes over its spot, that gun is not going to get loaded again. And same for the gunner. If the gunner gets shot, you lose the ability to aim your gun. You can't turn the turret, you can't do anything. You just cannot fire back until somebody replaces the gunner, or he gets healed. And chances are, unless he's wounded, he ain't getting healed. Driver, he gets shot, tank stops moving. Machine gunner, he gets shot. You can't shoot this little machine gun that they haven't activated in the game yet. Fuel tanks, set them on fire. Radiator, there to cool down the engine. Shooting them in the engine and shooting them in the transmission are both good ways of stopping a tank, other than just shooting the driver flat out. If you ever get the rear of a tank, shoot them in the engine, cause a fire, stop their ability to traverse through the battlefield and get away from your shots. It's all around a good tactic to always try and shoot them in the engine if you get that shot presented to you. And that's a little walkthrough on how to look at your tank's armor. And then here's the preset, and this is where you can set up a number of different presets. I'm going to go ahead and add one, and I'll show you how it works. This is the reserve biplane. This game originally started as a plane game, so everything kind of seems like it's catered to planes. And it mostly really is, honestly. And then see, you click this little arrow down here. And you're ready to add whatever tanks. These tanks right here are ones I've already bought. This one is one that I have to buy again. And it's basically training that crew to work with that tank. I wouldn't want to spend that much money unless I had to. So, I mean, I'm not going to really buy any of these to show you. I've already kind of walked that through with you. This right here is a filter option, so you can click this and have just aircrafts and tanks. And you can click this and take the tanks off, and now you just have aircrafts. It's kind of like filtering what you see. You can filter it so you only see certain ranks, or mastered crew, or not mastered. So that's how you do that. And once you pick a tank or whatever, I click KV2, and it clicks over here. And then once I get done with the preset, then I can just click on this preset. Like I can click on that new preset, hit apply, and then all of a sudden my huge loadout that I had for that preset is there. And if I wanted to switch back, I click the old preset and hit apply, and it goes to exactly the way it was. Isn't that a neat little feature? I certainly fucking think so. And you get this little drop down tablet. And now you have the option to do air arcade battles, tank arcade battles, air realistic battles, tank realistic battles, simulator battles, and simulator battles for air, tank. You have combat, or custom, pardon my ignorance. Then you have events and tournaments. And then here's where you can select the servers that you're willing to see with matchmaking. EU, RU, SA, and USA. The one that's going to give you the best ping is going to be USA, obviously. But if you want to lower the time it takes you to get into a match, click all 4 of them, and you'll get into a match a hell of a lot faster than if you only had one clicked. And that's a pretty big a pretty big tutorial about mostly how the garage aspect of War Thunder works. I'll be taking some time tomorrow to upload you a proper actual video, and I'll make sure it's a really good one. I think you guys will really like it. Alright, it was fun talking with you, and I hope you learned something. Have a good day. JS Rhino out.